Hey rockers, welcome back to yet another true tale here at Bloody F Mess Official. You may notice the sound is a little different on this video because I'm sitting in an empty room. Yep, there's a bookshelf next to me, a CD shelf over there. Everything's bare, everything's off the walls. There's nothing cool to hang up behind me. Yep, I'm moving. And we are in the middle of it, man. We still have about less than 2 weeks, and we've been packing, we've been cleaning, we've been painting the new place, going back and forth, and it's just been freaking maddening. So tonight, I wanted to get on here and tell you something that's a little Halloween related. I said I would try to come up with some more Halloween related stories, and I thought of a funny one. And this is a true story from when I was about 7 or 8 years old. So this takes place back in 1973 or 74. I was 7 or 8. Around Halloween time, there's a classic candy that every kid that grew up in the 70s and probably to this day is aware of. And that candy is called candy corn. You know what I'm talking about. The little triangular shaped little pieces of candy that they're yellow on top, orange in the middle, and then the bottom has like a little white coloring piece. And lots of people love candy corn, right? Well, I always did as a candy, and every year we would go trick-or-treating, of course, like many kids in the world, or in the United States at least that I know of. I'm not real familiar with other countries' traditions of Halloween, but I know in the USA, trick-or-treating is huge, candy is awesome and beloved, and I love candy to this day. So, back to my story about candy corn. It was Halloween time. There was a lot of candy around. My teeth, before I got older and had some teeth work done to straighten my teeth out, they were pretty bad. I actually had fangs coming out of my gums. I've seen other people that have had that happen, that phenomenon where you have like these extra teeth that are like fangs that come out of your gums. And if you position your lips in the right way, they look like, like you're a vampire. But I've met other people that have had that happen. Later on down the road, those were yanked out of my face, right? But when I was a kid, I had these gaps in between my teeth, and I had a gap in between my front teeth, and my teeth were kind of messed up. So one year, right around Halloween time, I got this great idea. Because every year, when I was a little kid up until about 9 when it stopped, from like 1, 2, 3 years old to about 6, 7, 8, the tooth fairy would come to my house and leave me money under my pillow for my teeth. And when I was about 7, I was actually clever enough to outwit the tooth fairy. Yep, before I tell you the story, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button down below if you would, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the story. Okay, back to candy corn. Okay, it's Halloween. I'm about 7. I know that the tooth fairy brings me money, and I'm trying to think of ways to make money. So one day I'm sitting in my room eating candy corn, and all of a sudden I realized I've got a pretty big gap here in my teeth that would probably, it almost looks like a tooth could have fallen out of that gap. And then I was looking at the candy corn, and I thought, wait a minute, this little tip here at the end of the candy corn that's white, looks like a tooth. And I ripped it off. I put it next to my teeth, and I'm like, well, I'll be darned. It sure does look like a tooth to me. So what did I do? What a rascally move, man. And my mom, I'll get to that part. I told my mother that I lost a tooth that day. While I was doing whatever I was doing, and she was like, you did? Oh, and she said, let me see. And I showed her the tooth, and she took it because my mother had this habit of keeping all my baby teeth and my brother's and, wrapping them in tissue and Kleenex, and had a little box she kept it in, like a little jewelry box. I don't know why, and I don't know if that's normal, but that's what she did. And she took that and wrapped it up in, her little piece of cotton or piece of tissue, put it with the other ones, and lo and behold, the next morning, the tooth fairy left me money under my pillow. So I knew once and for all, the tooth fairy was not real because I had already figured it out. And I got paid for a piece of freaking candy corn. Well, let's flash forward. First of all, I'm just delighted. I'm like waking up going, I beat the tooth fairy, and I got paid. And I also scammed my mom. But I'm like 7. My conscience isn't really, if anything, I was laughing. I thought it was funny. I was a prankster my whole life. And so anyway, flash forward to about, I'm in my 20s. I'm sitting in the living room at my mother's house. Rest in peace to her. She left this earth in 2009, but her memory is very much alive right here in the old heart. Well, we were sitting when I was in my 20s one day talking about childhood and about things I had done, mischievous things. And I said, oh my gosh, something just hit me and I've got to come clean. And my mom says, oh no, what'd you do? Because I literally was a prankster my whole life, and I could tell you lots of stories that would blow your mind. My poor mother. I said, Mom, back in the day, remember that candy corn we used to always have around the house at Halloween time? And she's like, candy corn? Yeah. She says, what about it? I go, well, I told her what happened. I said, I faked a tooth being lost, blah, blah, blah. I said, as a matter of fact, you might want to go look in your little box that you kept my baby teeth in, and I can prove this. She goes, you son of a, or you little bastard. She said something like that. And she goes marching off into her bedroom, comes back out with her little box, starts unwrapping tissue. There's a tooth. There's a tooth. There's a tooth. There's a piece of candy corn. My mom almost smacked me. If she wasn't laughing so hard, she would have probably knocked me on my ass. But no, man, she thought it was hilarious and she couldn't believe it. She just sat there for like a half hour shaking her head, looking at me like, you little brat. I paid you for candy corn. Yeah, man. So I did. I kind of beat the tooth fairy. But I got a little bit of trivia for you. Do you know what candy corn is actually made of? It's made of sugar, corn syrup, salt, sesame oil, honey, artificial flavor, food coloring, gelatin, and confectioner's glaze. Now here's the icing on the proverbial cake. What is confectioner's glaze made of? Well, it's made of lac resin. What is lac resin? Well, it's a bug secretion. Not sure what kind of bug, not sure where it secretes from, and I don't really want to know. But that's what I looked up and did the research when I was going to tell you my story about candy freaking corn. Take that, tooth fairy. Gonna go find me a donut or something. Adios, my friends. Have a great week, and I will try to come back as soon as humanly possible to tell more stories in this nearly empty house. We got to be out of here at the end of the month. So, hey, I'll find time. I will. Thanks for being here. Cheers. And be nice to your moms.